Welcome to 40born, the limited Lorcana podcast, where a gaming veteran
and a gaming novice
explore all things Lorcana. With a focus on limited formats, we cover set reviews, strategy guides, and stuff that nobody asked for.
Let's get some promo cards. My God, what did you spill?
You hit me a little hard.
I'm just proud of you.
I was thinking let's get some sleep.
Oh, I'm so tired.
Dude, I slept
Like a
11
baby.
hours last night, and I could have kept sleeping, but it was thunderstorming like crazy.
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
Dude, it was such a long weekend.
You tired? You're tired then?
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by the people that we met at the tournament, because I did not want to record tonight. I am so tired, I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah,
But we're going to talk about the Atlanta Challenge, the highs, the lows,
we are.
the time with the bros.
Oh, it was good. That's nice.
Yeah,
See what you did.
I wrote it. Not really. But I think that I'll show off I can't really show off the promos because the camera's not picking them up super great. You can find plenty of good images online, but
Yeah.
I'll sort of hold them up and we can talk about which ones. So if you want to see the cards, hop on our YouTube. If you're just listening on audio, you can Google what they look like
Yeah.
and imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking maybe we could just move along chronologically. I'll talk about a few things, and then I have some notes and some stuff that I like, some stuff that I didn't like,
For sure.
and you can share the same thing because we had very different experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think first of all, the plan was we would show up on Friday and watch the Timberwolves game,
Yep.
which we did. We did do that. So far, so good.
Uh-huh.
I went early to get the promo, to get the Flotsam and Jetsam promo. It's
Yes.
really beautiful
It is nice.
in person.
Great.
Yeah, thankfully my brother lives in Atlanta, so we just crashed at his place for the weekend.
That helped immensely.
Yeah, so it's a pretty quick drive and not that inconvenient for us. It is
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend, so the traffic was even worse than it usually is. But Atlanta traffic on Fridays is always just
Not great.
abysmal.
Yeah.
But we watched the Timberwolves play.
Mm-hmm. Had wings.
Great food, great time.
Yeah.
Not a great game.
No, it ended sadly,
It did.
as have the games since then.
Well, some people say that the playoffs are scripted. Let's see if they'll turn the corner here and get a full 4 games worth for the NBA.
I mean, I'd be down for that, script or not.
Yeah, no complaints here.
So yeah, we did that,
Um,
and then the next day you played.
the next day, yeah. So the plan was, I'll play 4 or 5 rounds because you had an attendee badge
Yep.
and I had a challenger badge,
Yeah.
competitor badge, and so the plan was you'll just hang out for a few hours and then I'll lose a few times and then I'll drop because there's not really an incentive to continue to play in these events once you have like 6 losses.
Right, as we found out with
Yeah.
everyone dropping.
Yeah, we'll get there. But once you have 6 losses, there's not really a point in continuing to play because you're kind of out of contention for a Let It Go promo.
Yeah.
And you get absolutely nothing if you are
keep
not
playing.
top 128
Right.
or tied for top 128.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem was I didn't lose enough.
Yeah, you kept winning.
Yeah, so I went 1-1. I started off not great. I know people don't really want to hear me unpack the whole thing, but
Yeah.
the short version is I went 1-1 and then I went 2-0. So 3-1 is not too bad of a start. You're starting off with 10 points. Then I went 1-1. Then I went 1-1 again.
Mm-hmm.
You can only get 6 losses, right?
Right.
And at this point, we weren't sure if you could have 5 or 6. We weren't exactly sure what the number was. But in my mind, the number was 6. Once I hit 6 losses, I was just going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I have 3 losses into 4 rounds. Then round 5, I pull out. I think I got another. No, round 5 might have been when I got another 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point,
Yeah.
I felt good. I felt like I was back potentially in contention, but at that point, I couldn't really afford many more losses.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had 4 or 5. 4 losses would have let me go on to day 2 for sure. 5 losses, you're probably going to be on the bubble. That's what people in the room were saying.
Yeah.
And that ended up being what was real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I got 0-2'd in round 6. So the only chance I have to even make it on the bubble is to go 2-0, 2-0, 2-0.
You had to win out the rest of the day.
And my plan was if I just lose one of those games, then we'll leave and we can just go get dinner and have a good time. Mm-hmm. But I won, and then I won, and then round 9 I won again.
Yeah.
So I ended up making it onto the bubble, which we can talk more about later. But what did you do all day?
Dude, I hung out at MomoCon.
So what is MomoCon for the people listening?
I don't even know how to describe MomoCon. This is the wildest experience ever. Like, so many people in costumes of anything. You can just be anyone. Like,
we were the weird ones.
I felt weird.
Yeah.
I felt like a weirdo walking around MomoCon.
Like, look at this freak just dressed like a normal person.
Stupid normie, dude. And it was amazing.
Everyone was nice. All the MomoConners that I interacted with.
So nice.
But it was weird because the challenge was occurring in the middle of MomoCon.
You had to walk through MomoCon to get to the room where the challenge was happening.
Yeah, so MomoCon was like 4 levels of this building. And the challenge was on like the 3rd level, or I guess the bottom level. So you sort of had to show your badge and then go through the escalators, which cut through the middle of MomoCon.
Yeah. And
so it was interesting. I mean, it was very fun people watching.
Yeah, right. I don't know how much MomoCon costs, but I paid a $25 attendee badge to go.
You basically got to go to MomoCon.
I feel like I was there.
There was like vendor halls and stuff that we couldn't get into. But what ended up happening on day 2 was MomoConners and DLC people were just trading badges because MomoCon people just wanted to hop in there and play some Lorcana and vice versa. We haven't got to day 2 yet, but we played some sealed, or we did a draft with some of our locals that was just using a box that somebody went and bought at MomoCon. MomoCon had a box at MSRP because all of the vendors at the venue were charging like way over MSRP for product. So they just went to MomoCon, bought a box, brought it in, and then we drafted it.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Sorry, Ravensburger, if we weren't supposed to do that. But
if we're not, then we didn't do that.
Yeah, if not, somebody else did that. But yeah, I guess so. Day 1.
What a long day, dude!
It was a very long day.
Imagine I did not play any Lorcana, actually at all.
Yeah, you didn't play a single hand of Lorcana.
But I was tired after day 1, and everyone there had played so many games. I could not imagine just seeing people's faces that morning, and then at like 10:30 at night when everyone was finally leaving. It was people had seen some stuff.
Yeah, multiple people told me how tired I looked, and I was like, well, I promise you, I feel more tired than I look. It was pretty exhausting.
Wild.
Just 18 games of Lorcana with a 1-hour break is pretty brutal.
Lunch break wasn't long enough.
And 6 of my matches were against red purple, and I was playing green purple, so that's a pretty grindy, like skill intensive matchup. It's not like it was like super easy one way or the other. Right. You know, like sometimes if you just play against a deck that's going to destroy you, like if I played against Amber Steel, I was lucky enough to dodge Amber Steel all day.
Yeah.
So if I play against them and I just lose in 15 minutes, then I have a 30-minute break to go do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So none of that happened, unfortunately. I played a lot of red purple, and so I was pretty zonked at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and then day 2 was I was pretty tired. I wasn't playing. You also couldn't really watch anyone play.
Yeah.
Like there was no way to spectate. And I understand because, you know, people, you don't want to crowd them or whatever. But it would have been nice if they at least had like the Twitch stream up somewhere.
Yeah, I thought that was odd. Especially like there were a lot of people I saw that were just like significant others or like with attendee badges. And I was like, if MomoCon wasn't happening, this would be the most boring thing to be at ever if you weren't playing.
Well, the problem was you couldn't really play.
No, exactly, yeah.
So like I hate to sort of start off with complaining side of things. I'll get to what I loved and people that we met and all that stuff. But like, I think it might be more palatable if I just start off with, these are some things I didn't really love, and then spend the whole rest of the time talking about stuff that I really liked.
For sure.
So my biggest complaint, I think my biggest problem with the DLC was just Sunday was a little bit of a mess. And I think PPG learned a lot and will iterate on this in the future. Yeah. Because they were like, there's an issue with Melee with registration virtually. So they said the morning of on Sunday, if you want to register, you have to register in person. Well, Taylor and I, we slept in because I wasn't playing, and I was like, we'll just show up and we'll do one of like the 10:30 or 11:30 drafts or whatever. Well, my friends show up there at 8 a.m. and they're like, there's a line already to play, and the line is taking, ended up taking like, you'd have to wait in line for like 2 hours just to do one sealed event.
Yeah.
So
wild.
Day 1, there's 2,000 people playing. Day 2, there's 1,900 people that are not playing.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be stuff for them to do.
Right.
Like, there wasn't a way to watch the stream. There wasn't a space where you could spectate like live. And I get that live spectating is difficult because people can cheat. But, it would have been nice if the players just had to wear noise-canceling headphones so that we could all just watch live.
Yeah.
Or even with like a few minutes delay. I'm sure that would have been a huge overhead. I've never run anything like this, but that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem, I think, was just that the side events weren't on demand. It was like scheduled. And they were capped usually at like 64 people.
Even less sometimes. Some were like 32.
Yeah, so when they're firing every 30 minutes and it's pods of 64 people, that's not enough space for 1,900 people to be playing all day. So I sat around a lot and played one sealed event, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I will say, I also didn't really enjoy playing the sealed event because my brain was so fried. It's the first time I've ever been like, I'm actually not enjoying Lorcana right now.
I was kind of shocked. I was like, I can't imagine if you played the full day on Saturday, I can't imagine, like, props to everyone who played, and if you played even more, because I was like, you love this.
Yeah.
You have to love this to participate in something like this.
Yeah, I saw Bobby McCoo. He's a streamer that he did really well in the event.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I saw him after he got knocked out on day 2. I think he made like top 16 or I think he made top 16, maybe top 32. But either way, and he was like telling me about he just looked so exhausted, and he was telling me, yeah, I'm fried. Like, I just could not imagine waking up and actually playing with any real stakes.
Right, yeah.
But I did like the prize wall. I really liked the prize wall a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The system was a little bit odd because you couldn't really play enough games to get enough prizes.
Right.
But day 2, as in like an apology for the situation with Melee and then people having to wait in the long lines, they ended up doubling the amount of tickets people got.
Oh, that's cool.
So then you could play in one event and get either the Cinderella or the
That's smart.
other promo based on win. So it was like 4 to enter, 4 per win, and then an additional 2 if you go 3-0.
Okay.
So max you could get 4, 8, 12. You could get 18, which was enough to get either one of those.
Yeah.
But then it was prohibited to like sell tickets.
Yeah.
But people were 100% doing it. And then it just got kind of weird where it was like, there was like a dude standing like 50 feet away from where people were cashing in tickets for prizes. And they were saying you give 2 tickets and you get 1 pack. He was just standing there with a box, and he was saying, if you give me 1 ticket, I'll give you 1 pack. Because he was trying to get 100 tickets so he could get the playmat.
Right.
It was like a really nice playmat that you could get from the prize wall. Well, the playmat was 100 tickets.
Yeah, it's like,
so if you give people an item that it's impossible to get
on your own,
it's impossible to get through legitimate means.
Right.
They're gonna find illegitimate means to obtain that item.
Right.
You know,
which is interesting because it's like, did they not know how, like, either that no one can really get this, and at that point it's like, what was the purpose of that? Or you just like, you're the one setting up the games, right? Like, you have to know how hard it is to.
Yeah, honestly, that was a little confusing to me. Like the tickets earned to the cost ratio felt a little bit weird.
Right.
But I will say I really liked the prize wall, but the numbers felt like they needed to be tweaked a little bit. Like, it would be nice if you could just play one side event, sweep it, and then you can get one of the 2 promos.
Yeah.
Or if you're a player that it's difficult for you to sweep, if you're able to grind and play 3 or 4, then you can afford one of those promos. But as is, if you're bad at the game and you can't win any of the rounds, then you would have to enter, so with the things doubled, you would have to enter 3 separate side events just to get the Cinderella promo, which was 12 tickets. That's with everything doubled. It was not possible to participate in the 3 side events on Sunday because the line was 2 hours long.
Too long
to play in one. You know?
Yeah.
And what was weird was then they opened registration back up on Melee. So some people waited for 2 hours, and then you could just sign up on Melee again.
Yeah, and then people were just, like, why was I standing here?
So it was a little bit weird, and this is no shade at PPG or Ravensburger. It's just a complaint, which was, I think if nothing changed and I played another one of these and I didn't make day 2, I would just leave.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stay for day 2.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll change things in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even at the end of the day, the system was in a better spot than it was before.
Right.
If they had more, if it was easier to sign up, like through Melee,
Mm-hmm.
then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't get in, you just don't show up.
Right, you don't have to go.
Yeah.
You just see what you... Yeah.
Or if there was a space to watch, I would have just sat there and watched the players play all day and just
Mm-hmm.
chatted with people and watched them play.
Yeah.
But I think let me see. I think those are like my complaints
Mm-hmm.
with the event.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thought the energy on day 1 was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like the like just people being so excited to play a
yeah.
game that we love was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was just cool. It was
Yeah.
a really cool experience. I'm really glad that I went. I think my only complaints relate to the logistical errors on Sunday,
Right.
which I think they'll literally have fixed before Chicago.
Yeah. Everything that was like a complaint was mainly just like, okay, well, this wasn't run the best way. And like you said, it's like the first time they did something like this. So there's probably so much, they probably walked away with like, okay, we shouldn't have done this. Like,
I think
hopefully you walk away as, the organizer of the event being like, there's some things we could improve.
Yeah. And even during the event, they were improving things. Like,
Yeah.
there was an issue with, like, queuing and how they tried to get the players funneled into the space to play between rounds. And they realized what we're doing is not working. Let's open up more entrances so that people can enter the play area and get to their tables faster.
Right.
So, like, that's really small. But the fact that they're willing to pivot and say, this isn't working, we got to try something else.
Yeah.
I think it really shows that PPG and Ravensburger, and I'm sure there's multiple other vendors that are there trying to make this happen, like Melee. I think that they are headed in the right direction. This was the first one, and I think it was a resounding success.
Yeah.
In my opinion, even with issues on day 2 and some like really minor things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. The other complaint I had was that I don't think the featured games should be happening in the room where everyone's playing. Like, if you're going to do, like, the stream and everything, that should be a separate area altogether.
Like, because in the room it was behind a big blue curtain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think it should be literally a separate room?
Well, I think it's just easier. It makes more sense. It's like you're actually somewhere. It's just weird to me that it was in the same place, but it's, like, shut off from the thing. I think you could do cooler stuff if you put it elsewhere.
Okay.
And then you can, and then also you can then stream it. Like, people should be able to watch.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
If they could put it in a separate room so that sound couldn't get through.
Right.
Because that's the biggest thing is you don't want the crowd to react
Yeah.
and or someone to just yell out.
Yell stuff. And
He has be prepared.
right,
you know?
right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that would be unfortunate. But no, I think that's great. I think that's a good idea. I think that this felt very well done and very professionally done in
Yeah.
my opinion. I still think there's room to grow, and I think they recognize that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to hear from people who go to Chicago how things are.
Yeah, me too. I think it'll be better for sure.
Yeah.
It was the weekend literally improved as it went on already. I think it was cool that there was of the trading card game events that I've been to, this was by far the most women and children I've ever seen participating, which was cool. It was really cute. I sat down to play my first round opponent, and in the table behind, there was a kid who was probably like 7 or 8 sitting next to another kid who was like 7 or 8, and just they weren't playing against each other, but they were sat next to each other and they were just chit chatting and having a good time. One of them, his opponent didn't show up, and it was just really cute how I don't know if this is gonna sound sad. It was really cute how like sad he was that his opponent didn't show
I
up.
knew you were gonna say
He's
that.
like ready to play. He had all of his like bits and bobbles out, and he was
Yeah.
just sitting there like slumped down with his chin on his chest,
Just
pouting.
bummed, man. Yeah, of course.
He was ready to kick some tail. It was a great time, and we met a lot of really great people.
Awesome people, for sure.
Yeah, I made a list, but it's not exhaustive. But we met Liam and Aaron from the Illumineers and their little one. She's really, really cute.
Yeah.
B Squared, I met him both with and without the bucket hat. I chatted with him quite a lot. It was funny, day 2, it's like towards the end of day 2, I chatted with both of them, and they just looked so tired.
They were on, man. I will
Yeah.
say, watching the Twitch stream, that everyone that was casting was like, I was very impressed
Yeah.
with that, and it did not seem like everyone's first time. If it was their first time,
No,
I was like, you
they-
all sound like you've been doing this forever.
They picked the right people.
Yeah.
I think everyone did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there was a remote team and an in-person team
Mm-hmm.
because it gave the in-person team time to like decompress.
Yeah,
But Liam and Brandon were walking around quite a bit and meeting people, getting
Yeah.
photos with people, things like that. So
cool.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to meet them. We got to meet the Forbidden Mountain crew. Got a photo with Dan, chatted with him a bit about the 2-game format and the meta, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
His buddy Dick Burns was there, super, super nice. And DeCandio was there dressed up as Peter Pan.
Yes.
So I met him. When I walked through the door, he was there, and I was like, I gotta get a photo with this guy right now. So met him. Googly Glimmers was there. You know, the guy that puts googly eyes.
I thought he didn't
on
make
cards.
it, but he was there.
He was a judge.
Oh, okay.
So he was a judge. I couldn't really chit chat with him because he was behind the blue screen, and well, I was never invited back there. For some reason, when you start the day off losing a lot, they're not super interested in showing you on the screen.
they weren't exactly begging you to come in there.
They want to watch all these people that have perfect records. I don't get it. It seems kind of boring to me. But yeah, the judging staff did a great job. There was like 60 judges there.
Yeah,
and I was impressed with every one of them that I interacted with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
We got to meet Dana and Dalton from the Inkwell Gamers. He finished top 16.
Okay.
So I met both of them. They were great. I got to see the Rapunzel playmat in person that he had.
Nice.
Dude, it's unreal.
That's amazing.
I don't really care about playmats.
Yeah.
I literally use one of them for a mouse pad, and the other one I've had the same one that I just use because it has dinosaurs on it, and I like it.
Yeah.
I don't care about playmats, but that one, I really want that one. So that was cool. I met Savage, which was pretty surreal because he followed us on Twitter, and I'm just sort of like fanboying from when I used to play Hearthstone. I would watch his streams all the time.
Yeah.
Super, super nice in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there was an incident where he was playing where he spent ink he didn't have, or he played a card where you have to put one card in your hand and one card on the bottom of your deck or something like that, and he kept both of them. And I think a lot of people have been like raising a fuss about it, like he was like intentionally trying to cheat.
Gotcha.
And which is just absurd.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of ridiculous claim to make because like that is his full-time job is playing these games.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to throw his credibility and career away?
Right. With something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think some people just kind of want to create drama that's not there. And it's just, I don't know. People made mistakes on stream.
Yeah.
People aren't saying the same thing about the guy that had 2 damage on his... Like, nobody's trying to go after that guy.
That was wild.
Yeah, but it's like people just make mistakes.
Yeah,
and there's
for
judges sitting right there. Like, honestly, I don't want to blame anybody, but like the judge's job is to catch things like that.
Yeah.
If they missed it and Savage missed it and his opponent missed it, yeah, I'm not saying it's okay, and I think all of them would agree. But let's maybe put our pitchforks down. I don't think anybody was trying to do anything malicious there.
Right.
Brendan from Podcana, I got to meet him. He has a recurring joke on his podcast about how people always tell him that he's shorter in person than they expected.
Yeah.
I will say he's much more jacked in person than I expected. That dude lifts weights.
Yeah, people say that about me too.
Yeah, we got a few of those. Nah, he was nice. Everybody that I met was super kind.
Yeah.
I met the whole Labyrinth TCG crew. They're like a team. So I think this was interesting. I heard multiple people talking because they were surprised to see teams there. So like at these events, what'll happen is high level players will make a team where they like have jerseys, and it's honestly it's most useful for sharing resources and knowledge because
I even asked you about that. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because you're like, why would you build a team for a solo event?
Yeah.
Well, they deck build together. They practice against each other. They theory craft and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they also literally pool resources. Like
Right.
they'll stay at Airbnb. They'll split the cost of Ubers.
Yeah.
They will share cards. Like they'll have a team card pool so that players who need specific cards can have access to those.
Yeah.
So I think people really underestimate how
Helpful that is.
beneficial being on a team is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I don't know. Some people have some strong opinions on teams because it feels like an unfair advantage, but it is what it is. It's the way TCGs work. It's like, why wouldn't you pull your resources if you can? Why wouldn't you learn from people who are better than you or as good as you or the best players in the game if you can? And I will say, I met most of the Labyrinth guys, and they were all so kind.
That's cool.
Like, I chatted with Bobby McCoo probably 5 times over the weekend between super stressful rounds.
Yeah.
And he was always, like, asking how my rounds were going and about specific matchups.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know Kendall. He was on the pod. But Kendall's on that team, and he did incredible. So he got top 16. He's going to the Nationals.
Yeah.
I chatted with R&B for a bit about set 4 stuff because the team's starting to prep for set 4 to help the people who didn't get invited to the Nats in the team. Now they're going to try to help them get to it.
Right.
You know? So met them. They were really cool. Lots of teams there. Saw some just like fun teams that just had cool jerseys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I kind of think we should make a team.
Yeah.
We'll just go do the side events, the sealed.
Just a team of two.
Yeah, and then Ryan Miller and Rochelle were there. I didn't meet Ryan because there was a long line to meet him.
Yeah.
And when he wasn't there, he kind of like seemed really busy, and I didn't want to like interject. But I got lucky and was able to chat with Rochelle. She was super nice. She was signing a bunch of stuff. And I was like, hey, I know you're probably tired of talking to people. It was towards the end of the day on Sunday. I was like, but my name's Jake. And she was like, oh, from 40 Born? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
You know who we are. So everyone was super kind and generous with their time. Even in the middle of these super grueling rounds, like these days were long, and everyone was super willing to just chit chat about whatever. I met Jeebus.
Yeah.
Jeebus was great. He was nice. I saw him tearing up some of those starter deck events, trying to get tickets to get the promos.
Love that.
I mean, those promos are worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I was doing the same thing on Sunday. Yeah, and we had a few cool interactions where people like recognized us and came up to us. Everyone who found me asked where you were.
You're like Momocon.
Yeah, I said go look for the normie at Momocon.
He'll stick out like a sore thumb.
I think people just wanted some stickers.
Yeah. I did hand out some stickers.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Devin. He was 11th after day 1. Recognized me from the pod.
I mean, how do you think he got to 11th? He listens to us. You think you get to 11th and don't listen to us?
Can't be done.
No.
Yeah, everyone we talked to was super nice. Super friendly, super nice. It was cool watching people, like, interact. Like I said, man, I was just impressed with everyone who's there. Because I was like, you are so committed to this, and you're also having a good time and, like, being pleasant to everyone. I think that just the excitement was really cool to see.
Yeah, I played 9 people, and everyone was... not everyone was, like, super nice the whole time. Like, I mean, not that anybody was rude, but just, like... You know, sometimes people
Not
are just
super
tired.
chipper. Yeah.
But most people were super chipper. And, like, I told most of my opponents that my wife is expecting because I'm like, hey, if you see me just get up and start running, just know that I've conceded because my wife is going into labor.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were, like, talking to me about, you know, dad advice or what are we going to name the baby and stuff like that. So that was, it was really cool. And, like, people would find each other afterwards. So... Some of the people that I played earlier in the day, we checked in later to see how everybody's doing. So it was. Sorry.
Did anyone call a judge on you?
During the sealed event, yes.
Oh.
Because I played the new Tuk Tuk, and his ability is written a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And so we just called for clarification because I was like, I think this is how it works. I think the character still gets +2 strength. Because the effects are separated by a period. But let's just call a judge. And he was like, yeah, let's just call a judge.
Yeah.
So we did. And it was not that big of a deal.
Nice.
I saw some... I saw one really spicy judge call where a dude called a judge on a woman. And it was like not something that you should call a judge for. I think it was because she inked... It was because she like didn't have enough ink to pay for something and like hadn't inked a card yet.
Yeah.
And it was like she just inked it. Like
Did
she
stuff,
didn't
out
do
of
the
order.
order
Gotcha.
operations
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, that's
It was
not
all, like,
worth
okay
calling a
what she
judge.
did. Yeah.
So then later he messed up and she was like very sassily called a judge.
He tried to walk something back, right?
Yeah,
like,
he
did something
played a card and then was like, actually, I'm gonna undo that. And she
Yeah.
was like, no, you're not.
Good for her.
Yeah, and then there was one round I sat next to two guys and they really got heated and it made me feel uncomfortable. And like I don't think it negatively impacted my gameplay, but I like could not pay attention because these two guys were like really fighting.
Yeah.
And it was the match when I went 0-2.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna blame them.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
There's no other way. It
Why
couldn't
not?
have been anything else.
No.
So yeah, that was pretty intense. It started off on a wrong foot. Like when somebody calls a judge in the first 45 seconds of sitting down, it's just gonna go downhill
Things
fast. Yeah.
Okay, we're not saying don't call judges, but when it's something like that, you're
Yeah.
like, what?
You should absolutely call judges and don't be upset if somebody calls a judge on you. But that was like a vindictive judge call, and then it just spiraled.
Yikes.
It was pretty bad. But all in all, great weekend, great staff. This was cool. They gave us during round 3 they gave us the Dragonfire promo, which is gorgeous. They did like this.
Looks really good.
This like striated foiling like I've never seen before. They did it for all of the foil promos, like the Let It Go and Cinderella and stuff. They all have this new foiling I've never seen on it. It's gorgeous in person. I wish that you could see it. But then they said as an apology for people who couldn't get here on Friday, like let's say you were flying in on Saturday morning or whatever, they're like, it's not really fair that you couldn't check in early.
Yeah.
Because if you checked in early, you got the Flotsam and Jetsam. So they gave everyone this Scrooge McDuck promo, which is really cool.
That's sweet.
It looks really nice. And yeah, so I thought that was a cool little gift that they gave out. And then I opened a foil Diablo during my sealed event.
Nice.
Which is cool. It's really great. It turns out that if you play Diablo, you win games in sealed. Yeah. I learned that this weekend. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
And then I got a non-foil version of Rapunzel gifted with healing from my tickets for the draft or for the sealed event I did. Mm-hmm. And your entry fee tickets. I pulled them together.
You feel like a kid at an arcade? Just pulling tickets.
I did. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then I got the Let It Go promo for getting top 128.
The Let It Go promo.
So should we talk about that a little bit?
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, first I was gonna say this was funny. People on our pod seem to love to make fun of me and laugh at me, and I get it. I sat 2 seats down from Josh. I think Moultrie, the guy who won, the winner. I sat like 2 seats down, and I finished early. So anytime I finished early, I would go to the bathroom, and then I would fill up my water bottle and come back. And when I came back, he was explaining his deck to his opponent, who he had just defeated.
Yeah. And
he was talking about why he was including the fairy godmothers. And I was like, well, that deck's trash. I was like, this dude's about to hit a wall. Because at that point, I was like, my record was like 203 maybe.
Yeah.
103. I don't know. It was fine, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's about to lose a lot when he starts playing against Steel. Well,
apparently not.
That's good we're a limited podcast. Because I guess he knew what he was doing.
It sounds like he had a very good idea about what he was doing.
Well, that deck is really good in a red-purple, and I played 6 rounds against red-purple.
Yeah, so he just... Do we know his matchups? Like,
no, I'm sure somebody can piece it together.
Yeah.
Knive.
He knows. Knive hit it.
Going in around 9, I DM'd Knive, and I was like...
Do I have a chance?
Going in around 8, I was like, what do I need to do? And he was like, you have to 2-0 the next 2 rounds. And I was like, challenge accepted.
Done.
I called Skylar to calm down. I imagined myself petting my dog, and I went in 2-0.
I love that.
So this is getting to the Let It Go side of things.
Yeah.
But round 8, I sit down for my opponent, and I have 30 points and my opponent has 30 points. So he says to me, would you like to play best of one? And I say to him, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Why would we do that? And he's like, well, only one of us can get top 128. Like, if we both split here and you're at 33 points and I'm at 33 points,
right,
and then we both win, we'll both be at 40 points. That's not enough to get top 128. Mm-hmm. And he was like, one of us should do it. So we can do best of one. Yeah. Or we can just play best of two, and if it ends in a draw, we just roll a die and decide who wins. So many people were doing this round 8 and round 9.
I heard somebody else doing it, yeah.
So I agreed to just do best of one, and he wins the die roll, which it sucks. But he was playing green steel, and I was playing green purple, and I just had all of the merfolks and Flynn riders and just went super, super fast and tore apart his hand with a couple. I hit 3 of his songs with my Ursula. It was just like, it was like really lucky. It was a combination of luck and skill in the sense of like I was pretty smart with how I used my Ursulas to time them to know, okay, he's setting up to play a grab your swords here, I can tell, and then just waiting one more turn to snipe it and things like that. But the dude was super nice and then just conceded game 2. Yeah. You know, and that was our deal, was if I win game 1, you concede. If you win game 1, I concede.
Right.
So I only bring that up because, first of all, you're not allowed to do that. What he just said, you're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
If you want to propose this, what you could say is something along the lines of, just so you know, if you win, I will be conceding.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to request that you change the rules in that way.
Right.
But pointing out to your opponent, we can't both win this here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything against the rules related to that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what the rules are. Maybe what I just said is not acceptable. But
they're coming for your let it go.
Based on what I heard from some judges that will remain not named, you cannot ask that, but you can point out the situation, and you can tell your opponent that you will be conceding if they win game 1.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, but I don't know if I think you'd have to say more than that to get your opponent to understand what you're trying to say.
Well, you could wink at them.
Don't wink at your opponent.
So, so round 8, that happened, and then round 9, I said the same thing to my opponent. I said, we can't both get a let it go here. Would you like to play it out? Or no, I didn't I said it sentences, because I was like, based on what I was told to me was, don't ask questions, but you can say sentences.
Yeah.
And I said, if you win game 1, I will concede. I am not asking you to do the same thing. I am pointing out the situation.
Yeah.
I would like for one of us to get a let it go promo. Mm-hmm. I am also willing to roll a die at the end of this, and whoever wins, if we split, whoever wins the die roll gets to move on. He was not having any of it, and so we played it out. We played game 1, and I beat him.
Yeah.
And then after game 1, he goes, "Well, we can roll a die after this if we split and decide who wins."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that wasn't the rules of this. Now that I won game 1,
now you want
to, which felt a little weird. I don't think he meant anything weird, but it was just like, that's not how this arrangement works. Although I would have done it, It's the principle.
Although, of course, I would have done it.
No, but it was super cool going in around 9. I was seated in between 2 locals from our hometown.
Yeah.
We all went together, not like literally in a car, but like we all went, and we were all keeping up with each other's scores, and it was just cool sitting in a room of 2,000 people, sitting in between both of them, and being like, if we win, we are in the bubble and maybe get to make it to day 2.
Yeah, the bubble.
Yeah, so that was just really cool because it was also their first trading card game.
Oh, cool.
So it was just really
encouraging. I heard
encouraging.
that from so many people this weekend that it was their first trading card game ever. And the fact that, like, you signed up for this event, you got to the event, you played however well you did. Like you said earlier, but I don't think anyone in that room is bad at the game. Like, if you're playing this event, you're playing all day, like, there's some level of, like, skill.
Competency,
and expertise. Yeah. Like, even if... So, I don't know, man.
I was shocked at the skill level in that room. Like, Atlanta was not playing around. I didn't have a round that was easy. Every single round,
Yeah.
my opponent was good at Lorcana.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get lucky, and I don't know if this is rude to say. Sometimes you get lucky and you get seated across from someone that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not on Saturday.
Like me.
Well, I wasn't gonna say you get seated across from a tailor, but that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
For sure.
I had one opponent that was like, "Do you know how songs work?" I'm sorry.
Like,
maybe
what
that
is
maybe that joke's getting tired.
No.
Well, it was a great time. Round 8, round 9, I ended up pulling out a series of 2-0s, which, well, I guess technically a 1-0 against round 8, but Melee says it's a 2-0. So I pull out a 2-0, and then I tied for 64th place.
Yeah.
So the way that for our listeners that
The bubble.
are not super experienced with the bubble.
You ready to talk about the bubble?
Yeah. So in Magic, what would happen is if you have a specific record, you make it to day 2.
Yeah.
So it's usually top 64 or the same record.
Right.
For us, it would be if you had 44 points, you would get to make it to day 2 in the Lorcana equivalent.
Yeah.
But what they said was, no, you have to be literally top 64. So the tiebreakers are going to determine if you make it to day 2.
Yeah.
A note on this. People have made such a ruckus about you should go first in the second game because it's a tiebreaker. That's like the third tiebreaker.
Right.
Stop it. That's not why.
Stop it.
The 59 of us who didn't make it to... There's 59 of us that had 44 points, and only 4 or maybe 5 of them got to play in day 2. So like 60 through 64 all had 44 points.
Didn't we figure out that no one who got cut, no one who did not make it, who was in the bubble, that tiebreaker did not come into account for anyone, for a single person.
What mattered was opponents' wins.
Right. So not one person did they have to look at, how many games did you win going second, or how many?
that tiebreaker wasn't relevant.
Yeah.
Like, you should just win games. Stop worrying about the minutia. Like,
win games. That's the advice.
Yeah.
That's the
just win more games. If I won one more game, I would have made it to day 2.
Yeah.
Get good.
Yeah.
That's what I said to myself.
Be better.
No, so I was on the bubble, and it was really frustrating because it's like, in Magic, I would have made day 2, and that would have been a huge accomplishment. Like, I said that as a joke on this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was gonna scrub out after like 4 or 5 rounds, and we would just find some people and do some draft.
Yeah, hang out.
But I kept winning and kept surprising myself, and was really proud of myself, and I am still really proud of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it was pretty painful to have the same exact record as 4 or 5 people that got to make it to day 2.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't was because of things that were completely out of my control.
Right, like if your people you played ended up stopping for the day, or like just not playing.
If your opponents drop, then they don't get that many wins. Whereas if your opponent continues to play, then they get more wins.
I'm sure Ravensburger has it, but do we have data like who dropped? Like how many people just stopped playing? That'd be a fun thing to see.
You could look on Melee and see the last round how many matches were actually played.
Got it.
And that should give you a good number. But I saw multiple of my opponents later in the day that told me that they had dropped.
They had stopped.
So,
which, like you said, I mean, like, what's the incentive to continue?
Yeah.
So maybe that's something they look at too, is like, because it does mess things up if people are just dropping, you know, but also do what you have to do. Like, I'm not going to sit and play 9 rounds just for the sake of
nothing.
Somebody I played in round 2. Like,
especially not when I could leave and then go do side events and get tickets to get promos that are going for hundreds of dollars.
For sure.
So I think that something similar they could do is you get 1 prize ticket per win.
Yeah.
So then even if you're out of contention for day 2,
you're still getting something.
You could still get 8 tickets just for continuing to play, you know?
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But I think that the bubbling out thing was pretty painful in this situation. Not just because I didn't get to make it to day 2, but because I also didn't get the Cinderella promo.
Yeah.
Like, here's what was weird to me is top 128 got the Let It Go promo.
Yes.
Right? But actually the top 149 got the Let It Go promo, because if you had the same record as whoever was in 128th,
They gave
you
it to
got
you.
the Let It Go promo.
But they didn't use that same logic for the...
But they didn't use that for
Yeah.
the Cindy, which means I had the same exact record as 64th place,
Yeah.
but did not receive a promo that's going for thousands of dollars.
Right.
If you're not going to let me play day 2, can you at least give me the shiny cardboard? That was a little frustrating for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I'd ever be in this situation. You know, I didn't think I would get on the bubble in this moment. But it was pretty encouraging. Getting the Let It Go was really fun and exciting. I do think I played really well. I also think I got really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
My hardest matchup was Amber Steel. I didn't face Amber Steel once all day.
Yeah.
I played against Steel one time, and it was Green Steel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like if you want to place well at these events, you need to be good. And you also need to have a little bit of luck on your side.
Mm-hmm.
There was plenty of really good players in there that did not make day 2.
Yeah.
They did not even get a Let It Go promo.
Yeah.
It's a grueling format. It is very hard and very unforgiving.
Sure.
Artabax didn't make day 2 in Europe.
Yeah.
It's a different event, but he's a much better player than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you place against a bunch of Amber Steel, it's going to be hard to compete.
There's a lot of variables, I think, is what the ultimate thing is that if you didn't make it to day 2, it doesn't mean you're bad. If you didn't get a it doesn't mean you're bad. And, you know, you did. It doesn't necessarily mean you're good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
But-
I think, I think, you know, we got maybe a little bit of flack for saying winning a Stitch doesn't mean you're a good player.
Mm.
I would say getting a Let It Go in a room of 2,000 people, you're probably
You know at some level what you're doing.
You're probably at least decent. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, so I think that the bubbling out thing felt bad.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that I would say is if you're not going to let the bubble play on day 2, at least give them the Cinderella.
The promo.
Right? Because then it's like this is a logistic issue.
Right.
It's not
We
like...
just need it for... Yeah.
Yeah, like it was... I didn't make day 2 for something that was completely outside of my control.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice if I was rewarded for playing well with not just to Let It Go, but also the thing that the 5 people who got to make it to day 2, they got that. It would be nice if I could also get that. But I recognize that I'm speaking, I don't know,
I want that too.
from a point of privilege. Yeah, of like...
I want what they have.
Well, no, I mean, I recognize, like...
I get what you're saying. It's just they didn't use the same logic in both ways.
I guess that's what it is for me.
It's just like... do one or the other.
Yeah.
But doing both makes it feel weird.
Yeah. And in Magic, they would have just... You go to day 2, you play a couple more rounds of Swiss, and then you cut the top, whatever.
Gotcha.
So I think...
They would get it down. They'd narrow it down again.
I think because they were set on cutting it at top 64, those of us on the bubble, it just sort of felt bad.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 rounds of Swiss is just not enough for 2,000 people. There was 59 people on the bubble.
Yeah. So you're saying you need more games with that many people.
Yeah, I think you need more games because you're not really able to differentiate who the top 64 actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the difference between 64 and 65th? It was like a quarter of a percentage point of opponents' wins.
Right. Can you imagine playing more games though? It's gonna have to be like a 3-day event.
No, that would suck. Yeah, but I think that I say this as a person because it would benefit me directly, obviously. So maybe I'm biased, but I think getting pulled into day 2 would have been nice.
Yeah.
And then you start the day off with 1 or 2 rounds of Swiss, and then eventually they're gonna have to cut. But no matter what, they're gonna have to cut to something.
Yeah.
There will always be a bubble. It's always gonna feel bad for someone.
Right.
It just sucks that it felt bad for 60 people, and I'm one of them. But yeah, it was a good time. I had a great time. I loved it. I have no complaints over the 2-game format, other than it was the most stressed I've ever been playing a trading card game.
Yeah.
Every match matters, or not every match. Every game matters. Right. In Magic, you can sort of take your foot off the gas. There's some games where it just doesn't work out, and it doesn't matter because it's best 2 of 3. So if I win game 1 and then lose game 2, there's another game I'm still in it. I can try to pull it out. Here, if I win game 1 and then lose game 2, it's like, well, that just feels like a loss.
Yeah.
Even though I played really well, I can't help that I drew, three 1 drops in a row on turn 10, because that happened to me in a game, and it was like, I can't really, there's nowhere for me to go from here. I lost it. It's a game with variance, and sometimes the variance doesn't go your way, and it's unfortunate when it feels like you lose just because of variance.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's, yeah.
But you can make the same argument for 3-game form, or for best of 3, because in that situation the variance is the die roll, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I'm just sort of saying things that other people are saying, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse here.
Yeah.
I liked the 2-game format more than I expected I would, but it was definitely a lot more mentally taxing.
Right. Because, like you said, there's no... Yeah, everything matters at all.
There is no grace. It's
tough.
Yeah. If I had won one more game, I would have made day 2.
You think you're more tired, or do you think the guy that was walking around in a gonk droid costume at MomoCon for 2 days straight is more tired?
I think Gonk is more tired.
He couldn't see. He was staring at a screen, walking in a box for 2 days. He was there when I left.
Yeah, he was there for 2 days straight in a gonk droid.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
What I realized this weekend about myself is that everyone is more committed to something than I am about anything.
Oh,
that's what I learned.
That's a good truth to learn.
I was proud of everyone. I wanted to just tell people that I saw.
Yeah, I was proud of everyone. I was proud of my friends that went, that played, and my friend that went that didn't play. It was a great weekend. I would do it again, and I don't know. I would love to go to like Seattle or something towards the end of the year, but with the baby, it's sort of hard to plan that far ahead.
I feel like the only thing I cannot speak to this because we drove, an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. Like, we're close, but if you were like traveling to this event from far away, right? You fly in, like maybe this is your first time in Atlanta, but you're not doing anything. You can't, like, you're here and you're at the event. You're in one room in the Congress Center for, your 2 full days. So that, I feel like that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, you're not actually like visiting Atlanta.
Yeah, I wish you could like get some time to go do something.
Yeah, maybe if you took like an extra day at the front or back, that could be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I think that's it for us. I mean, Atlanta was a great time. I'm glad we got to meet some of y'all.
Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks for coming up to us if you saw us.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't always know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who listened, so that was fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I'll think of more stuff. We'll talk about this more in the future, but go to a challenge. It was a good time.
Yeah.
If you're not if you think you're not ready, you're ready, because you don't have to compete in the thing. You can just go do side events and play the arcade games.
The arcade games?
Well, like Sealed and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. Like a lot of people were playing Draft and Sealed that had never done it before, it was fun sitting there, and it was really hard not being like, I have a podcast about this, because I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
But
I wish I could have stayed on Sunday. I went home on Sunday because I leave tomorrow for Minnesota, so I'm driving another. I just had a lot to do, and I was tapped on. I didn't even play, like I said, and I was exhausted from Saturday, so I had to leave Sunday just to get back and take care of stuff. But I wish I would have hung around and played some. Yeah,
it would have been fun. I think in our brains the weekend was going to go a certain way.
Right.
And we know a lot more now in the future.
Uh-huh.
So, would you go to another challenge in the future?
Maybe.
If room and board was free.
Yes.
I think that's the key for me as well.
Right, yeah.
So I'm going to sell some of these, I don't know if I can say this, Ravensburger, sorry. I'm going to sell a bunch of this stuff to try to get get a camera and stuff. We're borrowing this camera again from our buddy Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I would love to go to more events like this.
Yeah. But
we need money to do that. And
you're about to have a baby.
And I'm about to have a baby. And I need a car.
Yeah,
I currently do not have a car. So the priorities are trying to get in order.
Yeah, they are.
But
slowly.
For now, we're just going to focus on making the pod. And then in the future, we'd love to go to more events.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once the podcast is...
once it's wildly successful.
Yeah. or at least moderately lucrative.
Right.
Oh, I met the Wasteland people there.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Super, super nice.
I saw Ed.
I hope you guys went. I hope some people went to Wasteland.
Yeah, I hope you went up there and said, I'm here from 40 Born.
Yeah.
That would help us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great. They were nice. I got to chat with one of the owners. I got to chat with Ed, my arch nemesis. I hate him. Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Nice.
How many times have I said it was a good weekend?
A lot. But
Great.
I could tell just the joy in your eyes. It was just Christmas morning when you made
Dude,
that promo cut.
Well, Saturday morning, the vibes were electric. It was incredible.
Electric.
I wish that Why Breezy was there. I could feel the vibes were off a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
The energy level was a notch
There
too
was
low.
something missing. Yeah.
There was a disturbance in the force, and it was the lack of Why Breezy in Atlanta.
For sure.
But, yeah, towards the end, I was fried,
Mm-hmm.
and the last game, I knew I was going to win based on, like, I was able to, like, double sing Friends with Ursula and had a couple of rabbits, so I was, like, in such a dominant position in the last game, and I just felt so, it was euphoric.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah, just being like, wow, I did it.
After,
I hope it's good enough to make day 2. Opposite of euphoric. Very dejected when I realized I was 117th.
It's a real roller coaster.
Yeah. But no, it was a good time. Then I saw how much the Let It Go promos were going for on eBay. Euphoric
again. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then we tried to find a place to eat.
That was a really bad time.
Opposite.
I was gonna say we could talk about that on the next pod for like a good 20 minutes.
Yeah, we tried 4 different restaurants. It's hard to find food in Atlanta at midnight.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. Waffle House was only doing
Takeout.
window service.
Yeah.
I don't want window service Waffle
I've
House.
honestly never even seen that.
Yeah, because it sucks.
You need that soggy waffle to bring home.
Yuck. Okay, I don't like the word soggy.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that word.
Huh.
Yeah. Well,
Soggy.
no closing statements today.
No.
I think I've made enough opening ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what our next episode will be on. You're going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks, and we have trivia in 20 minutes. So
Yeah. Maybe it'll be brief.
I normally like to try to say, well, the next episode will be on blah, blah, blah.
Next
but,
episode is going to be something that you will not want to miss.
yeah, it'll be really important.
Super awesome.
It's just going to be on why Diablo's good in this format.
This is going to be Jake monologuing.
I was thinking about maybe finishing the set review because we never covered
never
the
did that.
rares. I mean, we shared the document with all of our grades, and honestly, based on our listener count in previous iterations of this, y'all don't care about the set review after the first week of the set being out.
Right.
So, we definitely have a backlog of listener questions that we need to get to.
Yes.
So, yeah,
That'll happen.
it will happen. We should answer one.
Okay, yeah.
We should answer one just because I want to try to
Yeah.
answer one per episode
Let's
to
do
get
it.
people
100% in.
Yeah, more questions asked because we like answering them.
What question are we answering?
Would you go to MomoCon from Xander Archer in our Discord?
Great question. I
Went.
went to MomoCon. Would I go again? Yes. I don't know if I'd actually, like, I've already said I am not committed to almost anything. So I feel like if I went to MomoCon, like, I felt weird being there and not dressing up because I was like,
Yes.
there's so much to look at. And everyone's so. If I was gonna go, I'd like want to dress up like something.
That's why. So I had the same answer as I would not. I would be interested in MomoCon. In particular, they had some stuff going on with like RPGs and like social deduction games. I would love to do stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I would not go to MomoCon unless I was dressed up. And I'm not going to half dress up.
Yeah.
So it's like I would be signing up for a whole new hobby of cosplaying just to go to MomoCon.
Right.
I don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
But they looked like they were having the time of their lives. I walked by a room that was just doing karaoke.
Yes. Some guy came to the bar and he was like, yeah, I've been signed up for karaoke, but I'm like 45 minutes away, so I'm just waiting.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great time. MomoCon looked sick. Would I go? No. But I love the people that went. I'm glad they had a good time.
Just like I feel like the challenge, everyone I saw at MomoCon was so nice to each other and just asking to take pictures and like true community. It was wild.
Yeah, it was.
I would walk through MomoCon again.
Yeah, I would not go to it, but I would go through it.
For sure. Hey, we met Xander Archer. He was great.
Yeah, he was.
Super nice.
He said, "How was it being a competitor? How was it being an attendee?" Hey, brother, we just spent an hour answering that question.
Yeah.
Did you have a nice drive? I did.
Yeah, the drive was fun. I think the short version of being an attendee, they could do more for attendees who don't play the game. That's
What?
my short answer.
Like what?
Like, there needs to be... I saw a lot of people who were very clearly just, like, loved ones of people who were playing, and there's nothing for you to do.
Yeah, lots of parents.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, like, there could be things for those people to do.
Well, they had like
I
a
think.
learn to play, but it would be cool if there was like
There's, like, one
a
time.
way to watch stuff.
Yeah,
Or
watch something or interact with something, or this is... Yeah.
yeah,
There's... Yeah.
that's a good point.
So, like, if you're an attendee and you don't plan on, like, playing at all, and there's no MomoCon,
Yeah,
bring something to do.
yeah. Bring a book.
Yeah.
I brought a book and I played. But that's just because it helps me relax between rounds.
Yeah.
Well, if you want us to answer your question, hop in our Discord.
Yep.
You can also tweet at us. You can find us on Instagram at 40.born. You can email us, 40born@gmail.com. I think a link to everything will be in the show notes.
Yeah.
We're trying to get that YouTube channel going, so go subscribe over there and thumbs up a bunch of stuff. It really helps us out.
Yeah. Leave comments.
Yeah, leave comments.
Jake will make more catchy titles.
Yeah. Do reviews. Leave us some reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Oh.
We're trying to grow the pod. We're doing what we can, and the podcast is continuing to grow. But those little things definitely pay out big dividends for us that are super helpful.
For sure.
Because we would love to go to more events and we would love to meet y'all and get better camera equipment and all those things. But all of those things require a certain amount of support that is great coming from y'all. That's the best thing you can do.
Yep. That's it. We did it. You did it. Did you call your parents afterwards?
My parents still don't know that this podcast exists.
It's for the best.
Yeah. I told my mom, I did tell my mom actually yesterday that how much that card was going for.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, "Is that like gambling?"
You're like, no, mother. It's nothing like that.
No, I didn't spend money in the hopes that I would win a large amount of money. It's not in any way related to gambling.
But if you were someone you know is struggling with gambling,
Um,
there's a thing. There's a number. Call a number.
here.
That'd be cool if we actually put it up.
I don't know how to do animations yet. I got to do one thing at a time.
Somebody will drop it in the comments for sure.
For sure. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. As always, stay 40 born.